The official word was just cramps, but inside Santa Clara, one reassuring word does not close the case when the player carted off was being prepared for a critical role. Romello Height went down, 4 other players never practiced, and every pass rush conversation suddenly carried more weight. Meanwhile, an outside name is being connected to the team. Young receivers have been handed an unexpected opening, and a quiet workout could shake up the quarterback room. Today, we will track those signals, separate need from opportunity, and figure out where the front office could act. If you read beyond the scoreboard too, subscribe to 49ers Express. Practice had barely started when the staff saw the image nobody wanted. Romello Height on the ground, receiving attention before being loaded onto a cart. Reporters watched the medical staff work on the rookie's right leg and both arms. The explanation released by the 49ers was cramps. That leaves room for relief. His body may have simply reacted hard to the workload. Still, this episode deserves attention until a fuller update arrives. This goes beyond the rookie scare. Height is positioned to take over Bryce Huff's speed rusher role and enter as a specialist in obvious passing situations. It is a specific but massive job for a defense that must unsettle quarterbacks again. If he is fine, great. The plan stays intact, and the rookie makes up the lost time. If his body needs caution, the rotation loses the exact trait this roster does not have in abundance. The wider picture adds concern. Vidarian Lowe sat out with a high ankle sprain. Christian Kirk missed practice with a calf strain. Grayson Halton with a knee bone bruise, and Andrew Farmer second with a back issue. 4 absences, 4 roster areas affected immediately, right out of the gate. The message inside the building may be patience, but the personnel department is almost certainly recalculating where the margin has become too thin. Another variable is hanging over this. Mykel Williams is still working to be ready for the start of the season. If that recovery takes longer and Height needs time, available veterans such as Hassan Reddick, Joey Bosa, Leonard Floyd, Kyle Van Noy, and Jadeveon Clowney would make sense as exploratory calls. Each one brings a different price, age, and role. Raheem Morris was scheduled to speak after practice, and his update could clear some of the smoke or make an outside search feel more logical. Inside that building, the real issue is not panic. It is finding out quickly whether this defense has enough speed to execute the plan. That potential search carries an important contrast because Nick Bosa practiced on the first official day of camp. After his torn ACL, seeing him work puts real strength back into the defensive plan. The expectation is that he will be ready for Week 1, but a defense built to dominate cannot place all of its security on one recovery, especially with Mykel Williams also returning from an ACL tear suffered only weeks after Bosa went down. That gap between hope and protection is where Sam Williams enters the picture. This connection did not come from a trade discussion revealed by the 49ers. Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox identified San Francisco as a possible destination for the 27-year-old defensive end. The idea is worth watching because Dallas may have a decision to make on a player who has shown burst without locking down a consistent role. Williams was the Cowboys' second-round pick in 2022, number 56 overall, after playing at Northeast Mississippi Community College and Ole Miss. He earned All-SEC and All-American honors in 2021. In the NFL, excluding the entire 2024 season, he lost to a torn ACL. Williams has appeared in 49 games and recorded 85 tackles, 20 quarterback hits, 9.5 sacks, 4 fumble recoveries, 3 forced fumbles, and 3 passes defensed. That is not the production of a finished star. It is not an empty resume either. Williams' own history would require a careful medical evaluation because he is also coming back from an ACL tear. That does not erase the fit. It simply keeps his name from being treated as an automatic solution to the recoveries already creating concern on this roster. The behind-the-scenes fit would be about role and timing. San Francisco does not need someone to erase Bosa. It needs to keep the unit from losing its acceleration when Bosa rests, when his rehab calls for a managed workload, or when an injury changes the Sunday plan. Sam Williams could compete for pass rush snaps without carrying the burden of saving the entire front. In the right rotation, his value would come from attacking better matchups and keeping fast legs on the field in the fourth quarter. This possibility only becomes real if Dallas is open to a move and the cost makes sense. A premium draft pick or an oversized commitment would turn a depth play into an unnecessary gamble. A controlled price changes the equation. The 49ers would be adding a still young player with NFL production and every reason to rebuild his place in the league. Bosa practicing delivered the best possible news. Williams represents something else for now, a chance for the front office to protect that good news before the season asks too much of it. While the defense calculates its pass rush numbers, the offense is watching room open in a group that looked crowded on paper. Adding Mike Evans and Christian Kirk brought experience alongside Ricky Pearsall and toughened the competition behind them. Then camp created two openings. Evans does not need every rep entering his 13th season, and Kirk has already missed time with a calf strain from the first practice. That is how a simple workload decision can quietly change the hierarchy. Evans is 32, owns 6 Pro Bowl selections, and has a secure role. Giving the veteran an occasional lighter day would be smart management, not uncertainty. Those open reps still need an owner. Zhaun Stribling, Jacob Cowing, and Jordan Watkins enter them chasing very different goals. Stribling was selected in the second round of the 2026 NFL Draft, so his roster spot is protected by a real investment. What he can win now is bigger than survival, a place among the top 3 receivers. Chris Forster praised the rookie's maturity, strength, and football intelligence while overseeing practices during Kyle Shanahan's recovery. Brock Purdy was even more revealing on KNBR. He called Stribling a baller and highlighted his route running, his quick grasp of the playbook, and the strength he uses to create separation. According to Purdy, the quarterbacks already see a player who can come in and contribute. That does not hand Stribling snaps, but it changes how the building reads every route. When the franchise quarterback sees a rookie who understands where to be, separates, and does not get lost mentally, trust can move faster than his official place on the depth chart. Stribling has a chance to turn July praise into chemistry that matters when coverage gets tighter. There is a collective effect too. If Stribling can line up early without shrinking the playbook, the offense gains freedom to move Evans around, disguise intentions before the snap, and avoid relying on Kirk in every 3-receiver formation. For Cowing, the clock feels more urgent. He enters year 3 with the speed to provide a vertical element and experience as a returner. That second skill could decide a roster spot if the receiver battle ends up close. Camp has to prove that his explosiveness is more than an interesting trait. It must become a tool the offense can actually call on in live situations. Watkins faces similar pressure without Stribling's draft cushion. Entering his second year, every extra snap creates film that will either help him or hurt him. He does not need to beat Evans to prove his value. He needs to execute better than the other contenders when Evans rests and Kirk is limited. That is the ruthless side of training camp. One player's opportunity is usually born from another player's absence. Faithful, show up in the comments and call your shot. Which young receiver takes advantage of this opening first? Stribling, Cowing, or Watkins? I see Stribling as the immediate breakout candidate, but Cowing's combination of speed and return value keeps him alive in a battle that could reshape the final offense. The final move looks small because it sits at the bottom of the depth chart, but 49ers history says never laugh at the third chair in the quarterback room. Brock Purdy is the franchise starter. Mac Jones brings experience as the backup. Curtis Rourke is a project the team invested a 2025 7th-round pick in. Adrian Martinez rounds out the room as a practice squad option. Even with that group, UFL MVP Jack Plummer was brought in for a workout. So far, that workout has not produced a reported signing. It may have been an updated file. Still, Plummer gives the staff a direct comparison between a quarterback carrying recent momentum and one who spent his rookie year recovering. Rourke entered the NFL under unusual circumstances. He was coming back from an ACL injury, so 2025 essentially became a redshirt season. San Francisco's interest never appeared limited to that 1 year. The more appealing possibility is developing him into a future backup, especially because Mac Jones will not hold that job forever. Before the draft, Rourke produced at Ohio and then elevated his game at Indiana. In his final college season, he completed 69.4% of his passes for 3,042 yards, 29 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. He also played through a knee injury, a detail that strengthened his reputation for toughness. Development does not happen under protection from competition. Plummer finished the 2026 UFL season, completing 65% of his passes for 2,188 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also has Bay Area ties after spending 1 college season at Cal. Those numbers came at a different level and should not transfer directly to the NFL. They still show a quarterback arriving with rhythm, confidence, and recent tape. Rourke has the draft investment and a path the organization designed for him. Plummer would have the advantage of playing and building momentum, while the Canadian quarterback spent months rehabbing. Camp will reveal who processes faster, places the ball correctly, and keeps the offense functioning. Teams carry extra quarterbacks through summer because there are routes to throw and arms to preserve. Carter Bradley and Tanner Mordecai moved through last year's preseason roster without changing the main plan. Plummer could fill that same temporary space. The workout does not mean Rourke is being pushed aside. The timing is the detail worth monitoring. Why evaluate the UFL MVP now if this quarterback room looked settled? Maybe the team only wants information. Maybe Adrian Martinez is being viewed differently. Maybe the coaches want to push Rourke back toward game speed without treating him like an untouchable project. Or maybe Plummer simply did enough to earn a basic opportunity, with no secret plan hiding behind the visit. If a contract follows, the rep distribution will tell the story. Which receivers does each quarterback work with? Who gets the stronger defense? At camp, the real hierarchy usually appears in usage before it reaches a press release. If Rourke responds, the competition confirms his progress. If Plummer passes him, San Francisco will have found an inexpensive alternative instead of protecting an old draft pick out of pride. The third quarterback does not sell tickets in July, but he can save a season when the unexpected walks through the door. One cart ride during the first practice triggered questions that reach across the entire roster. Height may only be recovering from cramps, but pass rush depth is already on the table. Sam Williams is an outside possibility with no known trade talks. Stribling, Cowing, and Watkins have received reps that could accelerate their careers. And Jack Plummer's workout placed quiet pressure on a quarterback room that looked settled. My read is simple. Santa Clara is collecting answers before accepting risk. Agree or push back in the comments, subscribe to 49ERS Express, and come back tomorrow. A contender's real work begins long before a move becomes a headline.